Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. This is Lisa, and today Ryan has given me lots of tips to share with you guys about shopping at auctions for thrifty homesteading items. So come on along. So for those of you who are new here are some of the things that we have picked up at auction. Let me know in the comments down below, have you ever purchased anything at an auction? What's the best deal you got buying at an auction? What are some other thrifty homesteading ideas? I'd love to hear in the comments down below. We get a lot of good stuff on auction, and that's just a small selection of the things that we have purchased. And so here are the tips that Ryan wanted me to share with you guys, so that way you too can be successful at buying from auctions. So number one is review the items closely that are going up for bid. Make sure you look at the pictures really well if you're not able to see them in person. If you're able to see it in person, make sure you look the item over as good as you can. If it is an online auction and you're not able to view the item in person, make sure that you are reading the descriptions and finding out if the item is in working condition or not. That is super important because that can be a deal breaker. Once you find out if the item is not working, then you really want to research the parts, the replacement parts, and the cost of the potential issue. So what do I mean by that? We got a pressure washer. We were told it was not operational. They believed the pump was not working. Ryan went online to double check. Number one, he found out that the model is no longer being sold. And number two, he found out that the replacement parts were still available. He also found out the cost of the replacement parts. So they were like between $40 and $50. Now the good news is we didn't need the replacement parts. However, at least we knew about how much it was going to cost to fix the item and that the parts were still available, versus buying the item and then finding out we can't get replacement parts and they were too expensive and made it less of a deal. Really know what you're looking at and what it's worth new and used. Also know your skill set. What is it that you can fix yourself versus what is outside of your comfort zone? Because if you have to farm it out to somebody else to do that for you, it's going to cost you more money. So definitely know your prices. Prepare to stop bidding if the price goes too high. It gets really, really addictive, and it's easy to get caught up in the moment and say, keep going, keep going, keep going, because we're only going in $2.50 increments. It's pretty easy to get in over your head and realize you've bid way too much. And not all of them are $2.50 increments. The larger items, of course, go a lot faster and in a lot bigger increments. So don't get caught up in it and get yourself into some debt. You might end up with something that you paid way too much for. Understand you may get stuff in your auction lot that may get tossed. So usually what they do is they group a bunch of things together. And for example, we received feeders, chicken waters, and some chicken heat lamps. That was great, nothing lost. However, when we bought an IBC tote, it came with a lot of stuff that was really essentially garbage that we threw out. But we knew that looking at the lot, because all we wanted was the IBC tote because it was a good price. So you have to evaluate that as well. Always read the terms and conditions of your auction. For example, our auction, you have pickup day between 10 and 3, which is 48 hours after the auction closes. You must pick up between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. If you do not, you pay for the items and you don't get them. They charge your card. So definitely know the terms and conditions. And of course, there are no returns on any of this. So you need to know that. It varies across every auction. Be careful typing in amounts when you're typing online. It's easy to type in a wrong number, as we all know. We're in this type fast society. And even though they give you a lot of fail safes and checks, it's easy to type in the wrong amount, and you don't want to find out that you spent $5,000 on a potato masher, okay? Make sure that you have the equipment and or the people to help you pick up the items, depending on the item, the size of the weight, all of that kind of thing. When we picked up our tractor, we had to make sure that we had plan A, B, and C, even though we were told it was working, because we bought it. We needed to be able to get it out of there and get it home. And we had to get it out of there by 3 p.m. So make sure you have people there to help you, because for our auction, they do not help you load. They just tell you there's the item and you're on your own. Use a bidding strategy. So a couple of different strategies are, you can play the bidding game and see what the interest is, and little bids at a time. As it creeps up, you can lay in wait, kind of use that judgment call. Another one is, if you see an item that you feel like many people are going to be bidding in, go on in with your highest bid if you really want it and see what happens. Sometimes that can be really helpful because nobody else is going to take it, and your highest bid is still going to be a lot cheaper than the item themselves, but it can be a risk. So you have to use your judgment. Ryan is really good about that stuff. I am not my strength. In fact, I recently purchased a large area rug for $2.50 against my better judgment. Diesel was sick and he had been vomiting on the carpet. And at this point, I really want to tear the carpet up, and we're not ready to do flooring. So I bought this carpet. The carpet was so bad, we threw it in a dumpster. Our plan B was to use it in the garden for some mulch. We didn't. It went in the dumpster. It was a waste of $2.50. My bad. So my suggestion is, don't buy things that can't be washed in the washing machine in hot water. Auctions are really a great way for you to get items you need for a decent price. You really need to know the economics of the auction and understand that not everything you get is going to be dirt cheap. You can still get a killer deal and it's not dirt cheap. For example, we bought a tractor. It was a fraction of what a tractor would have cost new. It's fully operational. We did very minor updates like tires and some servicing to it. And the tractor has been a godsend to us. And it was the way that we were going to get a tractor for our farm. We were not going to buy a new one. So just understand, some of the things may seem expensive, but they're still a lot better deal than they would have been had you not bought them from the auction. Sometimes the lot has one item in it, and that one item is worth more than the original lot, and it's something you didn't even know was in there. What am I talking about? Ryan buys hardware at these auctions. And when he does, he goes through it, he sorts it, and he gets it really, really cheap, sometimes for like $2, $3 for a ton of hardware. Well, when he gets the hardware and he looks through it, he's a knife collector. And he finds knives that were made in the United States years and years ago before they were outsourced. And you can find a knife that's worth $100 or $200 in there. That's a surprise. So that's a really sweet win. Again, with hardware, hardware is a great buy from auctions. We have purchased all different types of bolts, and sometimes it's all shoved together and it's really a pain to separate, and other times it is organized beautifully. He bought a lot of hardware that was all in powdered creamer containers labeled chain, bolts, by size and so on. It was a killer deal. Really, really cheap. And that's been really beneficial for all of our projects on the homestead. So that's been really helpful. Meat on the bone. Ryan loves the saying, there's got to be some meat on the bone for him for an auction. And what do I mean by that? We recently bought a stainless steel table from the auction to use for butchering. And it's a commercial grade from a restaurant kitchen. There were several of these tables on sale and they all went for a ton of money. Why? Because they were clean. The one that we looked at, we got for $65. It was like a $500 table. And we got it cheap because it was filthy and covered in oil and grease and looked like it was damaged. But if you look at stainless steel, we all know that stainless steel cleans up really well. So let me show you a picture of the table before. And here's a picture of the table after. All I did was use a little bit of degreaser on it and a little Brillo and a scraper. And it took me about 10 minutes to get it to look like this. So people don't want to bid on things that look like that because they're very cautious. But if you're smart enough and you really analyze what you're looking at, you can get some really good deals. There's Ryan's tips for shopping at auctions. They're a lot of fun. They're very exciting. Google online and see what's local, see if there's farm auctions. We don't have a lot of in-person ones here right now. So we've really found that this is a great way to get some cheap items for the homestead. Of course, in addition to Marketplace, Craigslist, local free groups or local bartering groups and so on. So definitely take advantage of those things because there's a lot of good stuff out there if you take the time to look. Have a great day, guys. Take care.